So you know exactly what is a quarter life crisis now. If you haven't watched the previous video in this series, make sure you go back and you watch it now. And in this video, we're going to exactly lay the foundations for you to set your life in the right way so that you can overcome your quarter life crisis and find purpose in your life. So let's get into the video. So now let's look at some myths that we're going to debunk about overcoming your quarter life crisis. So first we're going to look at the truth about career counseling. Then we're going to look at why psychologists can't find the answer for you, right? That's a shocking one. And why you cannot solve a problem at the level it was created. And at the end, I'll tell you why only you can find the answer, okay? So this is really important because if you don't grasp this, then you might get stuck in the trap of, trying to seek for help, and then you're seeking help from people that can't really help you. I'm not saying that psychologists are wrong and counselors are wrong. All of these people, these professionals are great at what they do, and they can help in a specific area of your life. But when it comes to overcoming a quarter life crisis, finding your purpose and changing your life, they might not be the best people. And I'll tell you why. If you have a quarter life crisis, what does society tell you to do? They're going to tell you to go see, a career counselor, go to school, go see an academic advisor at school, or go speak to a psychologist. Maybe he can help you. Or even they'll tell you, ask your parents, ask your friends to help you, and because they know you best, which is not the case in many cases. So there's all of this advice thrown around as to who to seek help to, and I'm going to tell you why each of these are wrong. And we're going to start with family and friends. Now, family and friends, they don't know what's best for you, and they can't really help you. Why? Because they are human. They are human. They don't know your whole, personality, your whole story. And if you think that they know who you are, well, they only know sort of what you've presented to them so far in the friendship, right? And also, friends and family, they like to project onto you, things that they wish that you could become. And it's not a conscious thing that they do. It's a really unconscious thing. So for example, your family, your parents might want you to become a doctor, right? Or want you to become a lawyer or whatever. And they'll project that onto you. So when you ask them for advice, they're going to tell you what they project onto you, what they think that you should be doing. And this is what happened to me. My parents told me that I should become a lawyer or a doctor, especially the doctor thing is so common in Asian families. So they told me that I should become a doctor. They told me these things. Of course, because I was really good at school, so they thought I would be the best doctor. But it's not because I'm good at school that I enjoy school, or that I would enjoy becoming a doctor. So can you see the discrepancies here? Right. So that's why you can't rely on your family and friends to help you with your quarter life crisis. Now let's talk about counselors and why counselors cannot help you. So first, let me tell you a bit of my experience with counselors. So I remember after I got rejected from film school, I really wanted to find a job sort of in the film industry department and all that. So I went to see like a career counselor. And let me just tell you that they pretty much had no clue. They pretty much had no clue how to help me to find sort of my dream job, which was to be a video editor or filmmaker at the time. That was sort of my dream career path, right? And they really had no clue how to help me. They told me, if you have a better CV, if you do this, if you do that, which was helpful. But what was really shocking to me is that career counselors, the counselors in general, they have really this lack of holistic thinking. Now, what does that mean is that they think only in terms of the school institution. They only think in terms of the paradigm of society, right? What society suggests is good for you. So they're only going to think in terms of a job. They're not gonna think in terms of what you want out of life as a person, what kind of person you are, what values do you have, and not just your skills and talents, but also what makes you feel inspired, what makes you feel fulfilled. Because they're thinking too narrowly on only a career or a job, they're not able to see the big picture as to who you are as a person. And for that reason, it's really hard to find the right fit for you, right? And what they're trying to do is, we take you, that's what they do. They take you and they try to fit you into a box of society, a box of, you can become a engineer or become electrician or whatever it is. But before we fit you in the box, we first have to think about who you are as a person, okay? And I'll get into that in the next weeks to come, right? But yes, you have to be wary of that. You have to go much deeper than just what you want as a job. You have to look at what you want out of life. What do you want for your life? That's the real question to ask, not what you want as a job. Now let's look at why psychologists can't fully help you. And that might be a controversial one, okay? But psychologists are great, right? They're great in the mental health field. If you struggle with depression, anxiety, psychological problems, emotional problems for that matter, they're not really good for helping you take action in your life. Yes, they'll help you, they'll maybe help you set an action plan and all that and what to do. But at the end of the day, they're more focused on healing trauma, healing the past, healing certain maybe blockages that you have, which is incredibly, immensely helpful. But they're not going to take action for you, right? While, contrary to a coach, certain coaches are bad, but certain coaches are really good, and they can help you see sort of your blind spots and challenge you and push you to go forward and, do things that you're afraid of. And a psychologist probably not going to do that, or not going to do it as much or as well. Let's say you struggle with finding the right degree, you struggle with finding your purpose in life, you struggle with making friends, you struggle with, you don't have an action plan, to get started with your business or get started with that idea that you want for your career. Your psychologist is not going to help you with those things. You have to do them yourself, in fact. While they're highly specialized in the psychology aspect, there's much more than psychology when it comes to overcoming a crisis, a quarter-life crisis, or any crisis for that matter. You need an action plan. You don't need to just endlessly rant about your problems, which often happens in psychotherapy. Is you really talk about your problems to sort of let it out. While that helps psychologically, emotionally speaking, that doesn't necessarily bring you closer to your goal. So you have to think more holistically here. So now that we talked about counselors, psychologists, your family, your friends, none of these people can help you. Now let's look at how you actually solve, that problem of a quarter-life crisis. And what I want to tell you is that you cannot solve a problem at the level it was created. And that's sort of a paraphrase of Albert Einstein, that he said that, you cannot solve a problem at the level it was created. I hope it was Albert Einstein, I'm not wrong here. But, let me illustrate this. Let's say you have a problem in your career, you don't know what job to choose. So, the most common problem with, career counselors or, trying to, switch your careers or whatever and, make a change is that people have problems in their careers. They only look at the career aspect, right? So for example, I don't know what degree to choose. Okay, let me see a counselor. Maybe I should pick this degree, or maybe I should try that, or I should try this one. Okay, let's do that. And they just kind of sort of dabble around and they try to solve the problem at the level of the problem, which is career problem. Okay, switch careers. Binge eating problem. Okay, stop eating. But you have to, while this is good to some extent, you also want to be able to level up to a more meta level, I like to call. So if you have a problem in your career, don't look at your career. Look at your life. If you have a problem with the direction of your career, look at the direction of your life. Where do you want to go in your life? So let's say, I'm studying engineering, I don't like it, and I want to make a change. Okay, well, instead of looking for a career, look at what you want for your life. Well, what do I want out of life? Well, I want to be really much more creative, possibly make some art. I really like, architecture and all that. I just don't like the sort of minutia of putting things into a computer and whatever you do in engineering. So I really like that other thing, actually. And maybe that's what I want in my life. I want to be more creative, more expressive. Oh, okay. So now you see, now you have a wider picture of what you want for your life. You understand yourself better, so now it's much easier to find sort of a path after that. A crazy thing that happened, I had a burnout, a while back. I was struggling through a burnout, and I went to see a counselor at that time because, at my job, I work at a bank, and at my job, there's this counselor that gave free sessions. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's free. I'm just giving it a try, even though I usually, a lot of these counselors I don't really like for some reason, but I'm gonna give it a try. And, she was really helpful, for some of the sessions, until that one session that she asked me, that, she told me that maybe I should go back to school. I had to explain her why I didn't enjoy school and why school wasn't for me. And it's like she was trying to convince me anyway to go to school, even though I told her that I don't like school, which is so strange, isn't it? Like, a counselor is supposed to help you with your life, but then she was too fixated on the career. She didn't think of what I wanted for my life, which was to be free, financially free. She didn't think about, all of these things. Instead, she was sort of trying to put me in this box of like, well, you're not succeeding in your business or life, or I don't know, you're not succeeding financially, then go back to school. It's all like it's almost regressive in a sense, because she couldn't think at a higher level. It's like she brought me down to a lower level, which I really didn't particularly enjoy. And that goes for anything. Whatever you want in a relationship, what you want in a relationship, if you have problems in your relationship, transcend the relationship and ask yourself, well, who are you as a person? And what do you want as a person in a relationship, right? Ask yourself this, and you go to a higher level, you're more likely to solve the problem. What to do instead, right? You have to break away from the school paradigm, or the societal paradigm, I like to call. So, why you want to do that? Because it really limits your options. It limits your options. You don't want to think about, what's your job, what's the next career. Forget about a career. Forget about a realistic job, because these words, career, jobs, they really put you in a box. And when you're limited in your thinking, you can't really, think about your whole life, and you can't really think about yourself. Because, and forget about what to study in school, because education goes well beyond school, right? On the job market, or, if you start your own business, you're going to learn so many things outside of school that school doesn't teach you. So, don't limit yourself to a specific degree to learn the particular skills you need in order to succeed. And forget about titles. Forget about, engineer, doctor, lawyer, nurse, caregiver, whatever it is, okay? Forget about these, because these titles will also limit you, because every title, there's sort of like all of these assumptions about what that person does for a living, and it really limits you in your choices. You want to forget that also. So what to do instead? Instead of starting narrow like most people, right, and trying to go wide after, okay, so it's like you start narrow. Okay, well, I should do engineering, or I should do lawyer, or I should do doctor, right? Let's say you take engineering. Okay, I want to do I should do this, right? And they're trying to fit it into themselves, which is this wide, who you are is such like a wide abstract thing, and they're trying to fit themselves into this little box called engineer. And that's the issue here. Instead of starting narrow with the specifics, you want to start wide with the abstract of who you are, and then you want to go specific and narrow to a specific field that you want to go in. So how you do that is, first you ask yourself, what do I want out of life? Right? So you start with that. What do you truly want out of life, right? Like, okay, well, I want to be free. I want to be artistic. I want to be, helping people, get a better life, improve their life. That's what I want to do. Okay, well, now let's go a bit more narrow. Well, what are ways that how could I get paid doing that, right? What kind of career could fit in, or if it doesn't fit in it, what can I create, as a career? Like, Well, maybe I could get paid if I did YouTube videos. If I wore a mask on the internet and did YouTube videos and did coaching, maybe I'd get paid doing that, which is the case. So, see, I started wide and then I went narrow. So first you ask what you want out of life. Then you can ask yourself, well, how can I get paid doing it, right? To get a bit more narrow. Then you ask yourself, what kind of career would that fit in? And is it a job or is it something I have to create for myself? If it's a job, perfect, right? If your dream is to become a doctor, you become a doctor, amazing, problem solved. If you don't want to do that, then ask yourself, well, can I create this job? Or was there anyone who has succeeded in that field, right? Let's say you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to become sort of a social media influencer, a Twitch streamer, whatever, or a pro gamer. Has anyone done this before? Yes. Okay. Well, how can I do it? And then now after that, you can go really specific. Okay, how can I set a realistic, achievable goal to get it? Now see, now you've really funneled down, but you had to start with wide first. The final thing I want to tell you is that yes, you can see a counselor, you can see a therapist, you can see coaches, and while they can help you, only you can find the answer. Only you can find your purpose in life. Only you can discover what you want out of life. Only you can do that. Why? Because nobody can tell you what your purpose is. If I were to tell you what your purpose was, then that would be a disservice to you, right? It's like maybe sometimes I get a comment, hey, I don't know what to do with my life. What should I do with my life? And it's like, I can't tell you what to do with your life. You have to figure that out yourself. And me as a coach, I'm only guiding you. I'm trying to sort of like teaching you how to fish instead of just giving you the fish, right? If I were to tell you, well, your purpose is to become a YouTuber, start a YouTube channel and, grow a business. That's what you want to do. That's what you should do. Like, I would never say that because everyone's different and only you know what's best for you. Nobody else does. At the end of the day, yes, I can give you guidance, but you have to take action. You have to set the goals and you have to follow through on those goals. Nobody else will. And there's this sad, funny story of one of the clients that I had that actually ran off program. And I was trying to think why he ran off program. Like, oh, am I a bad coach? And that never happened to me before. That was the first time it ever happened. And I realized that this man that was getting coaching with me was really expecting me to give him all the answers right away. He's like, oh, coach, can you tell me what to do? What's the meditation technique? What's that technique? And he asked me like in a single call, he asked me at least like 10 techniques. And I gave him 10 techniques. And in retrospect, because I was still a beginner in my coaching career, I thought that was the right thing to do, but actually it wasn't the right thing to do because I was giving him the fish instead of teaching him how to fish. And that's a bad thing because, he really expected me to tell him what to do with his life. And because of that, he wasn't getting the value. If I would have had the time to explain that to him, we rarely had 2 calls, so I didn't have the time to explain that to him. But if I would have told him that, actually, you know what, man, I cannot do anything to help you. I don't care how much money you paid me. There's no amount of money that will instantly solve your problems. You have to face the world and solve these problems yourself. There's no technique or tool that will heal you right away, that will make you feel better right away. You have to do the work and find the answer for yourself. So I hope that rings a bell. I hope that rings a bell for you. And if you're expecting some sort of self-help, quick tip that will solve your life, that's not going to happen in this course. So just set your expectations straight. So in conclusion, yes, go see a psychologist, therapist, 100%. If you struggle with a mental illness or, you have depression, anxiety, 100%. But that shouldn't be the only thing that you do to fix your life. In tandem with psychotherapy and all of that, go and do the course here, right? Do the course here, surround yourself with better people, good people in your life, a support system, join the Q&A calls and all that. So you don't only want to rely on these things. About career counselors, yes, they are good, but only if you plan on having a 9-to-5 job and you really plan on having a career you know. But even before you even think about a job or a career, you have to zoom out and think about your life. If after you figured out your life, you realize that you want to be in a 9-to-5 job, then you go find a 9-to-5 job, okay? If that's not what you want, then don't fucking do it. You know, follow me through the rest of the few weeks that are about to come, and you're going to see at the end of the tunnel, you're going to find something that is much more worthwhile than just a 9-to-5 job that society tells you to do. So I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this free preview, then stay tuned for part 3 where we'll talk about transcending society's paradigm so you can start seeing through your own eyes independently. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, you can check the free training in the link below because it's not going to be up forever. So if the training is still up, then click on the link and I'll see you there.